Okay, young scholars, welcome. Thanks for watching this video. This is activity 4.28, making choices as you write. In this video, it's going to be short, but we're going to take a look at some possible thesis sentences. I'll talk through a few of those for you. Then we'll discuss evidence briefly. And finally, I'm going to give you some thoughts about how to structure your writing for this unit, your final writing. So, without any further ado, please take some notes on a piece of paper while you watch this video, or if you've already outlined your rough draft, have that outline up so you can look at it, make some notes, and add on to that outline. So, first thing, let's look at some of your classmates' working thesis statements. Remember, these are works in progress, so let's not be too critical, but I will show you 5 of them. I'll talk through it, give you a few tips. So here they are. First one. I acknowledge Nash's main arguments to a moderate extent. I like that judgment of how much this young scholar agrees. I agree that our ecosystem and wilderness are in despair and loss of hope. However, I believe that the steps Nash is taking to pursue his plan of recovering the ecosystem are erroneous. I love the ideas here. The language, I think, is a little bit confusing, especially this transition. However, usually that indicates that you're going to give a counterpoint to what you said in the previous sentence. And here, the however doesn't work because this sentence is actually agreeing with the sentence before. So, no, there's just, I think that the transition could be a little bit stronger here, I think. But overall, this would work. It tells whether the author agrees or the writer agrees and what extent it agrees to. So next, even though humans have to fulfill their responsibilities for the future inhabitants of Earth, they should not limit their right to Nash's beliefs. Okay, that phrase is a little bit confusing to me there. Limit their right to Nash's beliefs? Humans have the right to oppose the idea of giving up how many kids they want or being told to isolate themselves. So I see what this young writer is going for, but a little too specific, a little confusing, I think, here, because unless this writer gives a lot of background in their intro, I think they are making assumptions about what their reader might know, and I think they might be wrong about those assumptions. So a little too specific, just a little confusing there. 3, all members of the human existence. Little confusing, that phrase. All members of the human existence must take action to prepare for the future and save the environment. But they should not have to give up any freedoms while doing so. I like this one. This is more simple. It is more general. It does make a strong claim, but I don't like all members of the human existence. I think that's a little unnecessarily formal. And then not have to give up any freedoms while doing so. That's a very strong claim. You might want to put a qualifier on that. Should not have to give up so much freedom to do so, etc. Moving on. 4, Robert Nash, in his article, Island Civilization, A Vision for Human Occupancy of Earth in the Fourth Millennium, suggests that island civilizations are the key to coexistence between humans and nature. But the crowded, spread apart cities he proposes seem largely infeasible. Okay, I love this, the claim here. Island civilizations are the key between humans and nature. I really like this thesis sentence, but I will say I hope that in your intro, you would have already introduced Robert Nash, who he was, and the title. So you shouldn't have to give those in a thesis, but I love the claim that's being made here. I love the academic language. It's just the right balance between general and specific, very strong there. And finally, the ideas presented in Nash's vision for island civilization aim to increase Earth's sustainability, but are ultimately unattainable because of the sacrifices they require humans to make. Love this one as well. It tells it, like, I love Nash's idea, but it's unattainable because we're making too many sacrifices. So a little fix up of the language here perhaps could be a hint more specific, but I love this one. It's just that right amount between general and specific. It allows this writer to give more details in their body paragraphs and topic sentences. So I would almost rank these in the order that you see here, one being 2, probably the weakest, then 1, then we get to 3, 5, and 4, probably my favorite, even though we got to get the title and the author out of there. Okay, so hopefully you guys in your discussion are looking at each other's thesis statements, giving each other feedback. Hopefully this helps. So here are just a couple tips for evidence, selecting and including. Make sure it's relevant. Choose evidence that supports your thesis statement. The evidence is probably the most important factor when writing a persuasive letter or essay. Without solid evidence, your writing is nothing more than your opinion. With it, your work can be powerful and persuasive. You will, I should say, use evidence from Nash's essay. You should be selecting lines or quotes, telling why you either agree with those or disagree, where his evidence might be faulty or where his reasoning might be faulty. But you also could find some evidence from some of our other TED Talks that we watched, or you could go out and do it on your own, find some different evidence. Highly recommend that. Just make sure that you're citing it in your essay and on your works cited page. Just a reminder that evidence can consist of facts, statistics, statements from authorities, examples, or personal stories. Go through, read this, but examples and personal stories can be based on your own observation, experiences, and readings. But your opinions are not evidence. The opinions of authorities are. Other strategies like comparison, contrast, definition, cause, effect can be particularly useful in building an argument. Use any combination of evidence and writing strategies that support your thesis statement. And final note on evidence, especially for this type of writing, a letter or an op-ed, you must address counter arguments. Consider the opinions of people who might disagree with you. How will you address their concerns? If you're disagreeing with Nash, you would have to anticipate what he would say back to you. How will you address the naysayers and their concerns? Nash acknowledges that many readers will disagree with him. He almost invites readers to confront him on his ideas. You too should be ready for readers who will disagree with your positions. Anticipate their arguments, acknowledge they might have some good points, but then ultimately rebut them. Tell why your side is still stronger. Now, a few notes on structure. As always, your essay should consist of the general sections, intro, body paragraphs, and conclusion. A few things to think about for each of those sections. So first, your intro should have background information. Who are you? Why are you writing? Introduce the subject. Introduce Nash. or the newspaper editor. You need to show them that you know the subject well. So think about, what is the subject of your essay? What's the topic, and what do you know about it? You should give your opinion on the topic. And then a strong thesis sentence that propels your letter or your op-ed essay on. So that's what goes in your intro. I'm looking for some well-developed intros on this essay. Body paragraphs. Lots of evidence. What evidence will you be using? Make sure you're including it either within your body paragraphs or in a separate counter argument and rebuttal paragraph, opposing points of view. And be sure to respond to that opposing point of view. It's up to you how many body paragraphs you want to have, but it should be multiple. I would say a minimum of 2 to 3 body paragraphs. More sophisticated writers, we might be seeing 4 or 5 shorter body paragraphs here. And the conclusion. Restate your position, call for action or agreement. What do you want your readers to do after they read your piece? What's the significance? Why is it important? Why should they care? And try to make it interesting. This is the last thing your readers are going to read. You want to leave them on a strong, strong note. Food for thought, something for them that leaves them thinking like, ooh, I better do this, or now I think this. If you simply restate your claims, you're not offering your readers any reason to read those final thoughts. They already have read your main points. Why restate them again if you're not going to offer them something new, something important? And young scholars, good luck. Your first draft is due before midnight on Monday. That gives you 4 days, 2 good school days. This is a big project, so get going on it immediately. Remember that good writing is clear thinking made visible. Love that quote. Young scholars, good luck. I look forward to seeing you all today on Zoom.